When I posted about my bottle of Diptyque Fleur de Peau, someone reached out to me and asked me how similar I thought it was to Glossier You. And I actually think that they're both very similar, so I thought I would compare them. I happen to have a bottle of Glossier You, and you can see that it's almost finished. But there's lots, I mean, this is a little bit, but there's lots for me to wear. So I can actually compare these two. And I think that they are worth talking about because they're very similar. So if you're looking for a different version of Glossier You because maybe you haven't been able to access it, or maybe you want something that smells like Fleur de Peau, but you don't want to spend the Diptyque money, I think that you should seek out some samples or decant of Glossier You because they are quite similar. I've actually been down a bit of a rabbit hole with Glossier because I just read this book called Glossy, Ambition, Beauty, and the Inside Story of Emily Weiss's Glossier. This came out a few months ago. I checked my copy out of the public library and you could as well. It's a very quick read. I think it brings up a lot of really good points. However, one of the things that detracts from those points is that this book is not fact checked. So there's a lot of inaccuracies and inconsistencies that are in the book, and that's really a shame because it is an interesting read. It kind of puts into perspective, the website Into the Gloss and the brand Glossier, and talks about its trajectory, how it rose so high and then why kind of sales have declined in the last little bit. Of course, for me, one of the things that was interesting was when they were talking about the launch of the perfume Glossier You. And this perfume launched in 2017. The perfumer behind it is Voelkl. What it says is, and this is just one little sentence from the book, it says that it was actually quite risky for her first perfume because it lacked a top note, the main first hit that the nose detects and what most fragrances are known by. Instead, it was heavy on base notes of ambre and musk in order to smell mostly like you. So I think that what the author is trying to say is that this is quite a linear perfume because it is very base note heavy, and it is really a blend of musks. It is a lot of ambrette, which is fresh and warm and also smells really clean. And, I think that people really liked it for that reason. But the reason for it being a base note heavy perfume and one that was musk heavy is that those perfumes are really quite easy to wear and likable. And in 2017, when Glossier You first launched, there were no Glossier stores. There was no place to go and smell this in person. So the only way that you had to know about it was if you blind bought it. You had to buy it without smelling it. And I think that this perfume did well on the strength of the Glossier brand. So if you were already a fan of the brand or the website, then you were interested in smelling the first and only perfume that they came out with. Because you were already part of that, kind of cult, right? And it was very much a if you know kind of perfume when it first launched. If you were a kid, like if you were a minor, you would need a credit card or ask a parent for a credit card to purchase this online. So already it's not as accessible as anything that's available in a Sephora store or a drugstore. And I think that this really appealed to millennials, right? Who do have credit cards and are able to buy stuff online. But millennials all over America or Canada or wherever you can get Glossier were really fans of this brand and fans of this perfume, and I think that's why it ended up doing so well. This color, this pink, this milky pink color became known as millennial pink, and the bottle was really, really nice because it fit your thumb in it, and so it just like really reinforced that idea that this was you but better, and the brand was really about being you but better. A lot of their products were very sheer and not very pigmented, and the age group that they were appealing to, they were trying to celebrate beauty in all shapes and forms and imperfections and being part of your beauty. And so I think that was a good idea, and this perfume is really lovely and easy to wear. I didn't get my bottle in 2017. I really was not doing a lot of blind buying then, but I did end up getting it in 2020. This is the first bottle that I got. I had a second bottle that I finished, so I've gone through lots of it. And I'm actually kicking myself because they had a 25% off sale this past Black Friday, and I should have just gotten a nice big bottle of it. But enough about Glossier You. Let's compare it to Fleur de Peau. Let's talk about the packaging. So this is the original packaging that it came in. I think the packaging is still the same. This is a 50 ml bottle, and the 50 ml retails for $92. They also have a 100 ml that is retailing for $133. So actually quite affordable in the grand scheme of things, because if you were going to the drugstore and buying a 100 ml bottle of anything, it would be more than $133. And the fact that you can get 25% off if you wait for a sale, I think is a great deal. So really, really very, very accessible. And I think that's a good thing. Fleur de Peau only comes in a 75 ml bottle, so only one larger size available. And this is $297 Canadian. So a lot more expensive. Diptyque is one of those brands that like rarely ever comes on sale. They never have their own sales from what I've seen in the past year or so. They don't have their own sales, but sometimes the stores, like the department stores that sell Diptyque, they will have sales. So I know like the department store where I got this, sometimes they have like a 15% off sale, and that is basically the most you're ever gonna get off, which is not really a deal. You know, that's not really like a crazy sale where you can now think that something is affordable if it wasn't before. So that's the price difference between the two. Packaging for Diptyque is a little bit nicer. So this is the box that it comes in, and this part kind of opens up, and you slide this box out, and then has tissue paper inside, and the bottle just fits inside here. So it is really, really nice luxury packaging. And I mean, it's nice to be getting a luxury experience if you're spending that kind of money, I guess. So that is Fleur de Peau. Now, both of them are ambrette perfumes, and both of them give you that fresh, clean skin smell. It's like you just got out of the shower. That's what I think. It just smells like a skin that smells like it just got out of a warm shower. Now immediately, and I have worn these side by side too, immediately I'll say that Glossier You is sweeter. And I was trying to pinpoint like where that sweetness is coming from. And I think that there is a touch of ambroxan in Glossier You that gives it a little bit of sweetness, but mostly it is ambrette. It is really fresh. It is clean. If you're thinking that you don't normally like ambroxan because of perfumes like Baccarat Rouge, or maybe Ariana Grande Cloud, or maybe you don't like, you know, any number of other perfumes that have so much ambroxan in them, I don't think that you need to worry, because this is not ambroxan heavy. I just think there's a touch of it in there to make it a little bit sweeter. And Fleur de Peau, it really doesn't have that ambroxan. So it's not sweet right away. It's colder, it's woodier, fresher, I would say. I mean, wearing them side by side throughout the day, I didn't get a lot of differences between the two. Like, there were never moments where I could say, oh, now I'm smelling Glossier You, or now that's definitely Fleur de Peau. I could smell them both equally, and really I got a lot of that musk dry down that is really lovely in both these perfumes. Fleur de Peau leans heavier on iris, and if you are a fan of that earthiness in iris, then you will really like this. It's a little bit powdery, but I wouldn't say it's like baby powder or like makeup powder. I think it just has a lightness to it, and that is because of the iris. But Glossier You also has a powderiness to it. It is a little bit more sparkling. It's a little bit warmer, and I think that because of those qualities, because it's a little bit sweeter and more sparkling, I think it leans a little bit more feminine, whereas because Fleur de Peau is woodier and colder, I think it leans a little bit more unisex. Now, Glossier You is supposed to be a unisex perfume also, but I think because the fan base for the brand is women, I think it really did just appeal to women, right? Both of these are eau de parfum concentrations, and they both wear like eau de parfum concentrations also, if I'm honest. I can smell them both all day long, but I think that sometimes my skin just doesn't eat perfume the way that some other people's skin does. And the reason I say that is because I was helping someone find their signature scent, and they had said that they smelled something I had and they couldn't remember what it was, and they really liked it. And I had a feeling that it was Glossier You, so I finally took in my bottle and I let her spray the perfume, and she really did like it. But she was like, I can't smell it. I just can't smell it. And she put 3 sprays on, which is more than what I would wear. I rarely even wear 3 sprays. Usually I wear 1 or 2 sprays, and that's it. She put 3 sprays on. I could smell it the whole day, but she really couldn't smell it on herself for very long. She was like, I smelled nice for maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, and then I couldn't smell it. And I thought it might be a case of her just becoming anosmic to it, because that can happen also. But I actually couldn't smell it on her either. When I smelled her wrist at the end of the day, I couldn't really smell it. But when I smell my own wrist at the end of the day, I feel like it's still there. So I don't know if like I'm just not as warm as her, and so that's why the perfume's not breaking down on me. I mean, I'm happy about it. I'm glad that I can wear 1 spray and smell it for the whole entire day, but she really could not. And so as much as she loved the scent profile, it wasn't a perfume that she would get because she couldn't smell it for a very long time. And that was really unfortunate. And when I read reviews of either of these, people complain about the staying power. But what's interesting is some people say that Glossier You doesn't last a very long time, and then other people say that when they try Fleur de Peau, it doesn't last a very long time, and people are comparing them side by side. I think that the concentration is pretty similar. I wonder if it says on here. It does not. Okay, this one is 77% volume, and this one it doesn't say. Oh, maybe it says on here. Nope. Doesn't say at all. So I feel like if it's an eau de parfum, the concentration is actually pretty similar. And so I think maybe there's just different aspects of the perfume people can smell or maybe not smell. Really, if you can't smell Glossier You, you could try Fleur de Peau and see if you can smell it more, but you're also going to be spending double the amount of money for less product, and that's unfortunate. It has to be said that, you know, I feel that Glossier You really did start a perfume revolution. I don't know. You have to contextualize all these perfumes, because I definitely wasn't aware of a very ambrette heavy perfume. Maybe I just hadn't tried it. Glossier You launched in 2017, and like I said, the perfumer behind it is Voelkl. And Fleur de Peau launched in 2018, and the perfumer behind this is Olivier Pichot, who's done many perfumes for Diptyque. I need to say that Chanel also launched an ambrette heavy perfume, and that is 1957, which they launched in 2019. So, you know, we have 2017, 2018, 2019. I'm sure there's lots of other ones that I don't know of. Like, I don't know if Guerlain has one, and I don't know if Dior has one. I'm definitely going to be looking for them because I kind of want to smell them all. But Glossier You is the one that became really popular. And I think, you know, one of the ironies is that it was only available online. It was only available in North America at the time. Now Glossier is available in Europe. So I know that they have a store in London. And I think they opened that in 2022 or 2023. So you can get it in Europe, but you can't get the brand in Australia. But there was a little bit of FOMO happening in Europe. I know last year when people were talking about going to perfume trade shows and conferences, you know, they were asking their American friends to bring them a bottle of Glossier You because they wanted to smell it and see what the hype was about. So it was very hyped and well known in the perfume community. And if anybody was paying attention to that, you know, the brands that were paying attention to that decided to then come out with their own ambrette heavy perfumes. I don't think that that is a coincidence. I think that they were influenced by the popularity of Glossier You. Diptyque is a very strong niche brand worldwide, I think. So I think that Fleur de Peau gained a lot of popularity because it was available everywhere, and because this scent profile did so well, it's not surprising that this scent profile would do really well. I haven't seen people hype up Chanel 1957, but that's part of the Les Exclusives collection, and it's only available in Chanel boutiques. So it's a little bit more difficult to get and maybe not as talked about when people talk about the Les Exclusives. I know when I smelled 1957 for the first time, I kind of wrote it off because I was like, oh, this is just Chanel's version of Glossier You. And I stand by that. I don't think that I'm wrong. That doesn't take away from, you know, the beauty of Chanel's 1957. I think it is a beautiful perfume. It has many more top notes because it has that Chanel DNA in it. So it's got this like Chanel classy blend of florals that people love, and I love that as well. And then it has this bright ambrette warm musk dry down. So it's quite beautiful. And if you were just going to purchase the Les Exclusives, that is one that you could buy and still have this Glossier You DNA in your collection. And I think that Fleur de Peau appeals to people who love Diptyque and want to just spend money at the Diptyque counter. Some people like their bottles to look homogeneous, and they like, you know, a display of bottles that all look the same. And so if that's you, then Fleur de Peau would be yours also. Yeah, I mean, on paper, so I didn't write down what each one was, but I can smell the difference between Glossier You and Fleur de Peau. It's just, Fleur de Peau is just so much colder. It's more mature, it's more rooty. It's yeah, it's Glossier You for the grown-up that has more money to spend. And this is sweeter. I wouldn't say that it's fruity, and I wouldn't say that there's like really any florals in it. I know that they say pink pepper as a top note. I can't smell any pink pepper in it. Fleur de Peau is also like a little bit more leathery, I think, but only slightly. And I think that that's me being like really critical of both of these. I think from far away, you can't really tell the difference. Like if there's a scent bubble around you, people are not going to be able to tell whether you're wearing Glossier You or Fleur de Peau. So, you know, to each their own. There's also these perfume oils that I reviewed last year. They're called Riddle, and that I think it's an American company, and you can only get them in North America. But the original Riddle oil is also really similar to Glossier You, and I have a full-size bottle of it. It comes in smaller bottles, so it's only a 20 ml bottle, and that is it's $104 Canadian. So again, not cheap because you're getting a tiny little bottle. And I found that one to be like so addictive, and I loved smelling it when I first got it. It's a little bit different than Glossier You because of the oil formula, but very much the same scent profile. The interesting thing about those oils is when I went on their website to check prices, they said that their oils are, people do become anosmic, or like they stop smelling them after a while because they become used to the smell. And so that doesn't mean that their oils are not concentrated. And so there's something on their website that said like you can't just return it because you stop smelling it. That's just a natural function of, that's a natural consequence of wearing the same perfume all the time, is that you sometimes stop smelling it. So they were like, these oils don't go bad, it's just that you have stopped smelling it, so you can't just return it if you stop smelling it. So they had that caveat on their website, which I thought was really interesting because it shows that people do stop smelling stuff when they get used to the smell. And I think that's something that we don't take into account often enough, or that people don't take into account. They kind of bash the brand or bash the perfume. They're like, oh, it doesn't last a very long time, or I just can't smell it anymore. You know, I feel like my bottle's gone off, or maybe I bought a old bottle, or maybe this is not the same juice. Maybe it's reformulated because I could smell the first bottle really good and now I can't smell the second bottle as well. But really it's that you've probably gotten used to it, and probably a good idea to take a break from perfume once in a while and take a break from wearing the same scent once in a while, because you do stop smelling things as clearly when you have too much of it, right? You know, one of the things that keeps coming up is that people get so many compliments on this type of scent profile. And you will notice that if you ever look up Glossier You, people say that they get so many compliments on it. People always ask them what it is that they're wearing because they smell so good. And that is really appealing to people. So even if they don't feel like they can smell it themselves, other people around them can smell it and always compliment them. I have known someone that wears this every single day, and I think she smells amazing. I think she smells so good. And I kind of picked up Fleur de Peau because I got tired of the sweetness in Glossier You. I know I said that I wanted to get another bottle, but I didn't get another bottle because I don't feel like I ever want to reach for this. But I do want to reach for Fleur de Peau. I kind of appreciate the iris is a little bit stronger, and I like that it's not as sweet. And let's be honest, I just really love this packaging also. I think Diptyque does just like a nice job with their branding and their packaging. And Glossier You did also, but I don't know, it's just time for a change, right? And then if I ever spot a bottle of 1957, maybe I'll get that too. But I also want to look up or try to figure out what that scent profile is from Guerlain and maybe other brands also, and I want to smell them. I mean, brands aren't saying that this is our version of Glossier You, but totally, if you're launching after 2017 and that's the scent profile that you're giving people when that hasn't really been your brand before, like, let's be honest, Chanel isn't going to be known for their your skin but better, like musk, fresh and clean perfumes. Like, that's not their DNA. I feel like they're a little bit more old school, and they always talk about how, you know, they harvest their own florals for their perfumes and they have control over the quality and the harvest. And I know Guerlain kind of sells that to us also. If that's you, if that's your brand profile, then why are you making a perfume that's musk heavy? Because musks are not florals. And ambrette does come from a seed, but it just doesn't seem to fit with the brand. So I was actually surprised when I smelled 1957. I was like, this doesn't smell very Chanel-y. and Fleur de Peau, I didn't think it smelled very Diptyque like when I first smelled it. I smelled this for the first time last year. I was at Nordstrom's and I sprayed it on, and then I was walking around and I was like, oh, this smells like Glossier You. I just sprayed it on without putting it on strip. I had no idea what I was smelling. But yeah, it's that ambrette. It's lovely. It's just so, it's addictive almost. And there are days when I wake up and I just want that fresh and clean feeling, and that's why I got this bottle. So that's Fleur de Peau. This is Glossier You. Very much the same but different. I don't know. I hope that, you know, my goal is to help you if you're trying to decide where you should spend your money. This is cheaper and you can go smell it at Sephora. Also comes in a solid perfume format, and I don't like that one. I think it's messy. I can't really smell it when I tried it in store, and it just feels like it's gonna get dirty, but it's a cute little pebble and it has that same thumbprint in it. So it's really cute, but I'm just not a fan of solid perfumes. I know Diptyque also makes solid perfumes. I haven't smelled any of them. I used to wear Lush solid perfumes, but honestly, pass on all of that. I like to spray, and I say that, but then I only ever wear one spray at a time. But I just like to spray. I mean, I can also show you, this is the spray for Diptyque. Their sprayers are really nice. They're atomizers. I enjoy that. And Glossier You. Spray it. It's not sprayed into my face. It's a pretty good sprayer too. Very powerful. That was a very powerful spray. This is cheaper. I would just get the Glossier You. If you're on a budget, just get the Glossier You. It is cheaper. I see it on sale all the time on Facebook Marketplace. So I feel like people buy it and then they're like, not for me. So they resell their bottle. So have a look, because you might be able to find a cheaper bottle, or Mercari, depending on where you are, wherever your resale website area is. Fleur de Peau, a little bit harder to get on resale, I find, and Diptyque is a global brand that I feel like is pretty expensive, so there's a lot of fakes out there. So I would not recommend looking for a cheap bottle of Fleur de Peau unless you know the person that you're buying it from. I know that there's lots of testers out there, and testers are great because I've seen the tester bottles. They have like tester etched into the bottle. So those are great if you can get them from a reliable source, which is like a store or a boutique or, you know, a counter. I don't know what their process is for getting rid of testers. I assume that they're giving them to their employees most of the time. And maybe they're reselling them, which is fine. But really hard to get on the gray market, I think. It's hard to get an authentic bottle on the gray market for cheap. So that's my 2 cents from what I've seen out there. I know this was kind of a longer review, but a comparison is necessary. And Glossier You came first, and I don't think people recognize the cultural perfume significance of it, and they really should, because it did come first, and then all these brands are launching their own version. So many copycats out there. I love it. I don't really wear it that much anymore, but I love it. So hopefully that's helpful, and I will see you all next time. Bye.